I thought I'd try something new today. Rather than get the ladder out and stand it over there, I got a shitload of books over here, and I'm gonna try it this way. First and foremost, I would like to wish happy 22nd anniversary to my favorite girl group, the Magnificent Seven, who got the gold medal in the gymnastics all around. It was my favorite gymnast's only Olympic medal, and it was my twins' 6th Olympic medal, but first Olympic gold. And there was what they call a fluff, which is a short video. They played a fluff. Will poor little Shannon ever get her gold medal? She's always just so close to it. And then boom, she got the gold. And then she got another one before she left. And so, but today is their anniversary. I'd like to give a shout out to them. Okay, now we're going to talk about iron sights. Now, for this video, we have the M1 carbine and my personal favorite, the Mini. Okay. Now, I'm going to start by saying I know some people need optics or some shit. I shot an M&P AR type rifle a while ago. A guy had an optic on it, and he said, my eyes this age, you know how it is. And there's a girl, her name's Brylan Rakes. She appeared several years ago on Dancing with the Stars as a guest dancer, and she has something called dancing eyes. She's legally blind. She was 17 years old before she was allowed to leave the house by herself. Even then, she had to have a special telescope with her to see street lights and shit like that, and signs and stuff. And I imagine she had crossing guards help her and stuff like that when possible. And I saw her on Instagram a while ago. It was a picture from a year ago where she's shooting a pellet gun and she's got a scope on. And she asked, "Should I keep my eyes open, close one eye?" And I said, "No, keep both eyes open so you can see everything around." And I said, "I hope the scope is comfortable for you." Okay? So I understand there are guys that have vision problems. Even Ken Hackathorn, a tremendous shooter, far more experienced than I will ever be, admitted that at his age he prefers a bead dock, is easier to see. So I understand based on your age, based on vision problems, you may require a scope or an optic or some shit like that. Okay, but for guys that are fairly younger and for guys that are free of vision problems, I'm noticing everything is a fucking scope these days. I was at the range the other day, and there was a guy with a JR carbine, which is kind of sort of like an AR rifle that shoots Glock mags. He's got a scope on it. Nicest guy in the world. We talk about cool, but he's got a scope on his fucking carbine. The fucking back wall is 50 feet away. Okay? And nothing fancy. Is a huge offender here. And I love Eric and I love Chad. I watch all their videos. They're offenders too. Everything I fucking see from them is a scope. Okay? Now, a lot of younger guys scope this, scope that. Everything is a fucking scope. And once again, I understand if you're in a competition, it requires a scope. But why does every goddamn rifle have a scope on it? Does anybody use irons anymore? Now, one such problem is Sarah Palin. She was doing her reality show many years ago, and she's hung with her father and her father's best friend. Father fell on his ass. Sometime later, they have the game inside. I think it was Caribou. And she fires a couple shots. Fucking animal is standing like this. And her father's, she can't shoot the fucking thing. And her father's best friend said, "Take my rifle." Boom, he goes down. When the father fell on his ass, he knocked the scope out of alignment. And that's why she couldn't shoot with it. And I'm thinking, what if that was an emergency? Okay? And a lot of guys have scopes zeroed out for 700 yards. That's fine if you want to try that, but do you use irons? Can you use irons? Okay? And another problem we have here is every rifle comes flat top. Every rifle is optic ready. Okay? If I were to buy a bolt action, I would buy the Ruger Scout, because it's the only rifle that is A, left-handed, B, holds more than 5 shots, and C, has irons already on it. It's called the Scout, the Gun Sight Scout, in honor of Jeff Cooper, who founded Gunsite and developed the concept of the Scott rifle. Obviously, he was in his grave when it was made, but they named it after him in honor of him. Okay, they followed his specifications, blah, blah, blah. Okay, Jeff Cooper said, you want to have a scope on your Scout rifle, but you should have backup irons. That should go for every rifle. Bolt this, pump that, lever that, okay? Every rifle should have iron sights. Okay, they should make sure that when you leave the factory, they have some kind of iron sight on it. And if you want to put a scope on, that's just great. One thing to do easily is to buy an AR-15A2. That carry handle is the sight. And I've seen guys mount an optic on the carry handle, and they can go from the carry handle iron sights to the scope, and they can look very easily. Okay, but a lot of scopes require you to remove the iron sights or have no iron sights on at all. Some scopes are easy to mount. You got a pick rail up top. You just slide the sight in, screw it down, and zero it. Others like this, you have to get the piece of pick rail to go from here to here, which is in the box, or get the rings, which are in the box. So you can do it if you want the rings to go here. But sometimes having a scope and optic together is a little on the pain in the ass side. And I'm like, no one uses irons. Okay, now here's the issue. Military engagements, you need a scope because the guy's a mile away, so you gotta have a bolt action Lapua with a scope. Fine. Okay. The police sharpshooter has to use a bolt with a scope because he has to shoot the hostage taker to flee the hostage, or when a guy's holding a gun to his own head, he has to shoot the gun out of the guy's hand. He needs a scope with 0 to 1,000 miles. Yeah, okay, I understand that. But for the average citizen, the only chance you have at firing at a target more than 25 feet away is if the target is in the middle of a riot, like an LA riot, okay? That's when you're shooting at a target more than 25 feet away. Other problems that are not riot related, like home invasion, shit like that, the target is within 25 feet, may very well be 5 feet. Okay? So why do you always practice everything with the scope 800 feet away, 500 yards away, when in reality, self-defense situation, your target is going to be between 5 and 25 feet. Now, if you ever take binoculars and look at a close object, all you see is a fucking blur. Okay, like I put binoculars here right now, all I see is a big blur. Is it the equivalent of having your eye right up against the wall? Well, when you have a scope that's zeroed out for 700 yards, okay, when you pick that rifle up with that scope on it, and you try to look at a target that's 30 feet away with a flaming torch because you're in the middle of a riot, okay, all you're gonna see is a blur. Okay, you're gonna be just eyeballing it normal, like a fucking moron, or ripping the scope off entirely and flipping up the sights which should be on the rifle. Look at snipers, okay? Simo, what the fuck his name is? White Death, okay? White Death from Finland. Okay? He had a 5-shot bolt action rifle with iron sights. 800 enemy kills. Chris Kyle, who was a tremendous American, I was talking to his wife yesterday. Okay? Chris Kyle was the first one to tell you, I had 1,000 things going for me, I was only the monkey on the crank. That's Chris Kyle himself saying it. Okay? Snipers these days in military engagements, they got one guy with a 500 power scope. His partner has the spotters equipment, and they're fucking doing algebra, and they're figuring out the rotation of the earth, okay? Because they have to hit a target a mile and a half away. Okay? Meanwhile, most guys are not going to be doing that. Take the military as a whole, for example. Okay, World War II, who had a scope? The guy with the 1903 Springfield A4, he had a scope. Okay, from the Revolution, and yes, they had scopes as far back as the Revolutionary War. The little big ass pipe about this fucking long, you put it on top of the rifle. They had scopes back then. Very rarely, they were extremely rare back then. They were all self-made pipes that you had to look through. Okay, and they really didn't appear in the Civil War, but from Revolutionary War up until the Gulf War, everybody in the middle had iron sights. Okay, only a sniper or other designated person had a scope. And then in Gulf War, guys started putting scopes on more gradually. And then by the time the war on terrorism came, everyone in the middle got a fucking scope on. Okay? But what if the scope gets foggy? What if the scope breaks? Like the glass breaks and the scope itself breaks. What if the mounting rings break? You're fucked. Unless you can rip the scope off and throw it in the garbage where it belongs and flip your iron sights up, you're fucked. Plain and simple, you're fucked. That's the gospel truth. What about the LA riots? The Korean merchants? That famous picture? That was a store owned by a guy who fought in Korea for the South Korean army, allied to the United States, immigrated to America, opened that store. I think it was a fruit market in 1962. 30 years later, in 92, he went out, got a whole bunch of guns. They had a Mini 30, they had a riot shotgun, they had AR-15s, okay? Now, I don't know if the Korean guys had one guy at a time go down to the F-field to buy a gun, or if the boss went down and bought like 10 guns and just handed them out. I don't know how they did it. But I do know that the Korean guys in LA during the riots, they had time to prepare. They were taking all the cash out of the stores. They were taking the heavy, expensive merchandise out of the stores. They were building up barricades at the stores. They had time to prepare. But did they have time to prepare scopes? Okay? If you know that a riot is coming in 2 days, and you gotta go to the store and buy a rifle, do you have time and money to buy a $200 scope, put it on, bring it to the range, make sure it's zero? No. Because that $200 on the scope, that needs to go to ammunition and magazines. Okay? If you can get to the range, because the range will be busy, you're not going to have time to be like, okay, this and that and this and that. Okay? So they most likely had guys go down, buy rifles, bring them in the shop, when the riot happened, took to the roofs, and just aim whatever iron sights they had. Okay? And I'll give you another example from fiction. The movie and book, The Day of the Jackal, and the movie with Bruce Willis, like a remake of it, yeah. The original movie and the book, Day of the Jackal, it's about a guy who's hired to assassinate Charles de Gaulle. Charles de Gaulle pulled French troops out of an engagement. He stranded a whole bunch of French citizens, and fanatics of the Legionnaire tried to have him assassinated. That did happen in real life. But in the movie, they hire, this is the fictional part, they hire an assassin in England to assassinate him. And this guy goes to one of those underground gunsmiths, and he has to make a rifle for him. 12-inch barrel, SBR obviously. Okay, and he says to the guy, the rifle has to be .22 caliber, it has to have a scope, and it has to fit into a cane. A cane. Watch the movie, it's great. The book is great too. And in the movie and in the book, he goes to the forest with the rifle, assembles it. It's real fucking tiny. It's hysterical how tiny. But he's got the straight pullback bolt instead of the, okay. And he zeroes the scope, shoots the watermelon, then he disassembles it, puts it in his car because he has to bring it past customs, border, shit like that. And then the day in question is in a cane. What do you think was his problem? Watch the movie and find out. Here's the issue. You should be able to, and this rifle it's okay, it's accurate, it's not anywhere near as accurate as the Mini, plus this fucking handgun keeps flying off, right? This rifle, I shot better with this than I did with any AR-15. Yes, I did. I know the butt hurt is real. I know that hurts, but it's true. Take any rifle, and I can use this one for this purpose better than the carbine. Take any rifle you want. Your rifle of choice, your defense rifle of choice. Send the target between 25 yards. And it could be the standard bullseye target, or it could be the silhouette target, the person's silhouette target. With the bullseye target, go for the black part. with the silhouette target, go for this area. If you can't put 5 shots in that area with iron sights, you're fucking useless. Okay? You're fucking useless. Because that's what it boils down to. When the shit hits the fan, like all these fucking guys on YouTube are prepping, I gotta have a rifle, I gotta have a shotgun, I gotta have a backpack for ammunition, I gotta be ready to go in 2 minutes, okay? I gotta have food and water and all that, I gotta get all that bullshit. When the shit hits the fan, you will not have time to buy a scope, mount it, and zero it. Unless it's done already. When the shit hits the fan, you may very well be using your friend's rifle because you may be at his house. A riot may break out, and he may say, okay, here's your rifle, here's your rifle, here's your rifle, use the shotgun, okay, use the pistol stand, okay? You may be going with what you've got. What you've got is a rifle with iron sights. You may not have the luxury of a scope, okay? So if you marry yourself, I have to shoot with a scope all the time. I have to hit the target at 1,000 yards, okay? It's got to be within a billionth of an inch, okay? In close range engagements, okay, with a rifle with iron sights, you will be fucking useless. Okay? So make sure you can do that. Because you are far more likely, unless you're like a Delta Force sniper, okay, who's on a secret mission to assassinate some dictator, okay? But you as just a guy in your house, okay? You are a billion times more likely. And the odds of you being involved in an engagement is like 1 in 10,000. But you are a billion times more likely to be involved in an engagement. If it's close quarter home invasion, you're going for the pistol or the shotgun. Or the pistol caliber carbine. Okay? This rifle is for outdoor use. You don't shoot this inside. Okay? You shoot this outside. On the rooftop, okay, you shoot this during a riot, okay? You don't do this during a fucking home invasion because you're not going to be shooting this through fucking paper-thin walls. And even though this wall, my walls are concrete, my doors are not concrete, and my windows are not concrete, okay? So this rifle is for outside, okay? You are far more likely to be involved in a situation where you need to protect yourself by firing a rifle at an armed suspect advancing on your home within 30 feet. That is far more likely than you will at having your 50 power scope this fucking big, zeroed to hit a dime at 1,000 yards. That is far more likely. So prepare for the situation that is far more likely. Okay? That's why I carry a rescue tool. Because I'm far more likely to need a rescue tool to break someone out of a car than I am to shoot somebody trying to kill me. And that happened to me before. Okay? And Paul Harrell says it a lot. And Clint Smith says it a lot. Okay? You're more likely to have a fire than a home invasion. That's why you got a fire extinguisher around. Okay? Prepare for the likely scenario. Now, if you are a scope fanatic and you have 20 scopes and you put them on all your rifles and mix and match because you think it's cool and you like hitting the target at a very far distance, that's just great. I'm so happy for you. I really am happy for you. But can you do the basics? Can you take iron sights on your standard rifle and put 5 shots at the target in tight group at 25 yards? Can you do that? Hopefully you can. Because that's what's going to happen. Okay? And your $10,000 rifle build with your $800 scope is not going to save you when it's zeroed to 1,000 meters and the guy's coming at 35 feet. Okay, thank you.